I actually hate math, but there is one kind of math that I tolerate, and that is math that leads me to profit. So in my reselling business, I really try hard not to do math if I could possibly help it, but there is some math that I want to share with you today. It's pallet math. So whether you buy bulk boxes or you buy pallets or you're thinking about it, this video can be really helpful to you because I'm going to break down exactly all the ways I make profit out of my pallets or bulk purchases. I'm going to kind of probably say pallets, but it would all apply to a bulk box as well. Now, I did a video last week which was breaking down all of the ways that I sort my pallet or sort my boxes. And so that would probably be helpful for you to watch first because it goes into detail all the different categories that I'm going to be referring to here. Or you can watch this and then go back and watch that, whatever you want to do. But I do think that both of them work together. So I'll link the last week's video up here. I also did a video about just general buying tips for pallets. So I will link that video as well. And then if you want a video about how I pick my pallets, put pallet picking or something like that down in the comments below and I can make that video as well. But thanks, welcome back. Hi, I'm Rebecca the Reseller, and today we are talking about math, which I hate, but profitable pallet math I'm willing to tolerate, and I'm going to share that with you today. This is definitely going to be a big notes video, so please, I apologize that I'm going to be looking down, but it's math, I don't want to mess it up. So, when you're buying in bulk, math is extremely important because you need to extrapolate what you normally do at a thrift store for one item. Now you need to extrapolate it out for several items. And so you could make a boo-boo here or there when you go to the thrift store and pay too much for something or buy something without checking the comps or whatever. You make a $5 boo-boo every so often, that's not a big deal. But if you're buying a pallet, you could be spending thousands of dollars. You don't want to make a boo-boo. So pallet math is extremely important, and I'm excited to share it with you today. So let's get right into it. Often a pallet is going to include, may not always, but oftentimes, and for the sake of our math lesson today, it has 500 items. So there's 500 items in a pallet. On average, I went through my pallet purchases. On average, I pay right about $4 an item per item for items in a pallet. So my average cost of goods per item is $4. So the total cost of that pallet is $2,000. That includes the shipping. So that's the basic kind of scenario. We've got 500 items, $4 an item, $2,000 pallet. Now, typically there is a 15% flaw rate with any bulk purchase, whether you buy a box, whether you buy a pallet. So for me, I'm going to figure for this purpose that we have 75 flawed items. Usually, I end up listing on Poshmark, etc., half of the items that are in the pallet. Not the full amount, half. And so if you want to know more about that, go back and watch that video. So I'm listing half of them, so 250 items are being listed. Then I sell about 20% of the items locally or in lots. Again, you don't know what I mean about all that. I'm not going to explain all that here. That was in that other video. Go back and watch that video, then watch this video. So I sell 20% of the items locally or in lots, so that's 100 items. Then I sell the rest of the items through clearance methods like garage sales and other clearance methods, which I talk about in that video. That would be 75 items. So we've got 75 flaws, 250 listing myself, 100 being sold locally or in lots, and 75 with clearance methods or garage sales. Now for what we're bringing in for these items. So I usually get on average $1.30 for flawed items. And that's because some are taken, some aren't, some are being sold, some aren't. Watch the video for more on that. So that's going to be about $100 off of those 75 flawed items. Then I get about the same for clearance, another $100 for 75 clearance items. So that's another $100. Then I get about $4 per item for local sales and lots. So that's going to equal $400. So without selling any items yet on Poshmark, just from flawed items being sold, clearance items being sold, and local sales and lots being sold, I've sold a total of $600 already. So the pallet cost $2,000. I've sold $600. Now I only have $1,400 to go until I break even and cross over into the profit zone. So that means that if I have 250 items, all the items I said I was going to list on Poshmark, if I have 250 items and my goal was just to break even, all I need to do is sell each of those items for $5.60. I'm pretty sure that I could smash the heck out of that. Like, that's not even an option. So just by selling off items in another way, I've now brought down the amount of items I need to sell myself and the amount I need to break even. So it's going to be even more possible for me to move into the profit zone and, in my belief, quicker. So this is why, pallets for me are amazing, because I recognize all of this. I've done this for every single pallet and it just works like clockwork. So now we're going to get into where the magic really happens, because now we're going to move from, just kind of recouping some money and kind of bringing down our cost to moving into the profit zone. Okay, so we are working with 250 items that we're listing in our Poshmark closet. And for me, I have about a 50% sell-through rate. If you don't know your sell-through rate, that's something we can talk about in another video. But the idea is, how much are you listing and how much of that are you selling, and what percentage is that? There's a few different ways to kind of figure it out. I like to keep it simple, again, because I hate math. So for me, I am also listing these items for $50 or more. So for me, if I chose to pull it out and sell it myself, those 250 items, they have to be a listing price of $50 or more. If I list it for $50, on average, I'm probably going to sell it for $25 to $35. That's going to be my average. Sometimes it's going to sell higher, sometimes it's going to sell lower, but my average ASP is around 35. So that's what we're going to use 30 just to kind of be on the safe side. So if I have a 50% sell-through rate off of 250 items and their $50 listing price, but I'm going to say that they sell at $30, that means that I sold 125 items at $30. And so that amount is $3,750 in sales just from selling half of the items that I decided to list myself, which is, if you remember, half of the items in the pallet. So I'm only technically selling 1/4 of the items from the pallet in this way. Hope you follow that. So that means that I still have 125 items that haven't sold yet, according to this. So let's recap where we are at based on everything I just said. So other methods of selling was a total of $600. So that was the flaws, the clearance, and the local sales. That brought in $600. Selling half of the listings that I listed myself brought in $3,750. That totals $4,350 in sales. Yay! Yay! So if we subtract our cost, which was $2,000, right now we are in profit, $2,350 of profit. And I still have 125 items that are left to sell. And if they stayed listed, they could sell at $50 or $30 or whatever. So we have a lot of profit that we could make. So let's go and take it a step further. So if I sell the rest of those 125 items that are left over, just let them sell over time, however long that takes. So if it takes a year, if it takes 6 months, if it takes 2 years, however long to sell every single item that I listed myself, that would be a total sales of $8,100 with everything. And that was a $2,000 investment. So great profit there. If I sell the remaining 125 items at a local sale, so let's say I take them out of my Poshmark closet, I don't want to wait anymore, I'm considering them stale inventory, I take them out of my Poshmark closet and I sell them to a local sale like Style Encore or something like that, and I get $4 each on average for them, then my total sales will be $4,850 for everything. If I sell the remaining 125 items, I've taken them out of my Poshmark closet, I took them to Style Encore, they didn't take them, and so now I have still 125 items and I just clearance them out at a garage sale and I sell them for $1 each. My total sales will still be $4,475. So even in some of the worst case scenarios with this palette, I'm still more than doubling my money. And so for me, that is the wonderful thing about buying a palette, because not only can it be potentially this profitable if you break it down in this way, which I talk about in that prior video as well as this video, but the added bonus on top of it that maybe I haven't spoken about yet is that as a busy mom, as a full-time reseller, content creator, and print-on-demand seller, as someone that doesn't want to be working all the time and all of that, as this person, I literally got this stuff dropped off at my driveway. I ordered it online with one click and it got delivered to my driveway. Getting 500 items delivered to your driveway is hours upon hours upon hours of saved time thrifting. It is money saved driving, time saved driving, money saved because for me, every time I went to the bins, I got hungry and then I got Chick-fil-A after. So for me, ordering in bulk, getting these items dropped at my door and then turning it into profit in this specific way is what made me a six-figure reseller. When I started buying in bulk, when I started selling higher ASP items, when I made an operation that was optimized for every single part of the business, all of these things work together to make me a higher volume seller and a higher ASP seller. And so for me, doing pallets this way, I would never do it any other way. I would never go through a pallet and just list every single item. I don't even know that I've ever actually done that. I've just always instinctively sorted my pallets in a way that optimized for profit. I don't even think I meant to do it that way on purpose. It just kind of happened. And then once I started hearing that people had such trouble becoming profitable from these bulk purchases, I was like, I have to share, how this works, because maybe it's obvious to me, but it's not obvious to everyone else. There are lots of things that you do that I would never think of. And there's lots of things that I've thought of that you might never think of. And so it's great that we share in this reseller community. And I hope by sharing last week's video about how I sort the pallet, and then this week's video about how the money breaks down in the pallet, I really hope that helps you consider how you do pallets or if you would do a pallet, because I don't think that they are for everyone. I think there are certain people that can't handle having no control over what items come to them. And I think that's a separate issue. And I am planning on doing probably a video about how I pick my pallets. Let me know in the comments below if you want that video. But I do think that there is that is an element of picking the right pallet, of course. But once you have it, you need to make the most of it. And I hope that, again, last week's sorting video and this week's video about the math just kind of showcase to you how you can do a pallet so that you can optimize for your profit. I hope this makes you a lot of money. I hope it saves you a lot of time. If you need a source to get your bulk boxes and pallets, I primarily order from Helpsy Source. I've been an affiliate with them for quite some time. You can use my code Rebecca the Reseller to get 10% off at Helpsy Source, and you can use the link down below And then down below, I have my Poshmark strategies checklist for you, as well as all of the resources I've put together for you. So I hope you'll check out that description. Make sure you watch that sorting video beforehand, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.